Whether or not people realize it, frugal people, whether or not they realize it, they walk around with an invisible, no one can see it. They walk around with an invisible, frugal living tips and tricks toolbox, and it comes to the rescue many, many times, especially for folks that finding themselves in situations where their bills are bigger than their income. Oh, yikes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode on this channel, the Save Money and More with Jan channel. Many times this is Stockpile Friday, but I said I'm going to suspend that for today. Need to talk to you today about the fact that many people are living in situations where their bills are bigger than their income. But here's my question. The question begs, does it have to be this way? And I say it unapologetically. The answer is absolutely no. Absolutely not. It does not have to. Key words there, have to be this way. I have some important points to mention here, and you will see why it makes sense and why we could pull out the habits or the rescue from the toolbox, the invisible toolbox that frugal people walk around with all the time. They're just loaded with so many tips and tricks to make even these situations incredibly improved. All right. Number one. Now, this is kind of hard for me to say because some people get touchy about this. Yes, some people get touchy about this, but then again, some people, their feelings get hurt no matter what you tell them. So I'm not just going to skip over an important point because of that. Number one, people need to address their bad habits. People need to address their bad habits that may cost them money. All right, bad habit number one. How many of us overeat or don't realize we're overeating? Okay, overeating costs money. Why? Because you need more food to overeat with, huh? Yes, that's just a fact. Sorry, just saying the truth. I'm just saying the truth. Okay, so bad habits like overeating or useless hobbies. Oh no, my hobby is so very important. Maybe to a degree it's important, but some people they start collecting things. I'll give you an example. Years and years ago, I never tell people you like a certain thing. Years and years ago, I used to like to collect two things. In the 80s, it was porcelain clowns. Anybody out there get into the clown thing? That was the thing back in the 1980s. I'm telling you, I had porcelain clowns all over the place, pictures of clowns. Well, I love carnivals. I love things of that nature. I love amusement parks. I'm just an overgrown kid sometimes when it comes to stuff like that. But at that point, I was in my 20s. I was teaching and I liked to collect porcelain clowns. Then I went into the phase of collecting statues or pictures or anything having to do with nautical things. For example, lighthouses. They had many, many little lighthouse statues and stuff of that nature and pictures. And I had a captain's wheel clock. I had a captain's wheel keychain from Tiffany. Not even kidding you, because I just loved anything at that time. You go through these crazy phases, and I look back and say, and for what? They ended up becoming dust collectors. They really had no real big value. The only thing, maybe a sentimental value was the Tiffany captain's wheel. Okay, that one I didn't purchase. That was a gift to me. So that was a very thoughtful gift. But once you tell people you like a certain thing, then for the next 25 years, you're going to get porcelain clowns and lighthouses. Okay. And I was not interested in them by that point. I'm just making a point. But looking back, what a waste of money. Seriously. It was like a phase, a silly phase. I'm just saying. So that's a point I'm trying to make there, like with useless hobbies, for example, of that nature. All right. Or just another bad habit, people just shop to shop. They're bored. They're trying to fill up some hole in their heart. They overtly shop. They buy things that stay in the box with tags on and go in the corner and never get used. I'm like, huh? Like why? Why? Don't understand that. but I believe it's from that. I'm no doctor, I'm no psychologist. I'm just a person blabbing behind a microphone with an opinion. I just feel my thoughts go in that direction. Why do people get these things over and over, these unexplainable purchases? But the practical part there is that it's wasting money. Okay, so it's not a good thing in practice. All right, so addressing bad habits like overeating, smoking, over shopping for no good reason, useless hobbies, and like I said, just shopping to shop. This is a waste, okay? But a frugal minded person has intention, good intention to shop, looking for value. Why am I getting this purchase? How will I use this purchase? How could I get the maximum amount for my money? All right, next. Keep in mind that money, okay, money problems, excuse me. I'm reading off of my own chicken scratch, not typewritten stuff, handwritten stuff from yours truly. Keep in mind that money problems strains relationships. You know that one of the top contenders for relationship destruction has to be money issues, money problems. One person's thinking north and the other person's thinking south, and never do they meet in the middle. That's not good. That is not a good recipe for a healthy relationship. But money does matter, and some people are really into trying to do the right thing with money, and then their partner's more like devil may care, and I don't want to talk about it. Very difficult, very difficult. So keep in mind that money problems definitely strains a relationship. You have to ask yourself, is it worth losing your relationship over money? Here's where compromise comes in handy. Open communication, okay? Uh, Letting go of secrets. Somebody may be purchasing things on the side, and the money's just draining, 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 and the other person doesn't know. I mean, I could talk an hour and a half about that, but unfortunately, I don't have an hour and a half to talk about it at this point in time. But we could get into stuff like that in the future. So, frugal person toolbox, it's a common sense. Go out and grab that cup of coffee, sit on a porch, or take a walk along the beach or whatever, and just let it all hang out. Yeah, well, sorry to tell you, but last week I X, Y, and Z spent X, Y, and Z so and so. And then the other person will be more willing to share, and then reaching some sort of a conclusion would be very, very helpful in so very, very many ways. I'm just saying it's a common sense thing, in my opinion. All right, the next one. If I wrote a book, it would be a bestseller, in my opinion. It's so simple, it's so scary. However, stop spending more than you make. What? Yes. Stop spending more than you make. So people are saying, "Well, Jan, how is that possible? How could I be spending more than I make?" It's financially impossible. Not with credit cards, it isn't. This is where people fall in that dreadful hole, the dreadful hole of the rabbit hole of DEBT. I'm telling you. So stop spending more than you make. Is this a complicated sentence? No, no. It's so simple, it's scary. The sentence is simple. The idea is simple. But the practice? Now that's another show. Seriously. I mean, I could spew out all these words and you could hear it and shake your head, buttering your toast with your morning cup of joe, which I hope you're doing if you're listening to me first thing in the morning. And by the way, what a compliment. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. I really enjoy these 5 a.m. uploads. I'm a morning person. I create them a week ahead of time, as everyone knows. So please, thank you so much. Whether your morning cup of joe is at 5, 6, 7, or you're in the middle of your lunch and you decide to slam down on this video, thank you so very, very much. I appreciate it. And while you're at it, don't forget to click like. I truly appreciate that. And it lets YouTube know that you really did like this video. Thank you. All right. That way I could create more like it. All right. So stop spending more than you make. It's just that simple. And in the wrong hands, Okay. In the right hands, a credit card is a short-term loan. It is a useful conveyor of cash while you're doing something else. Then you go home and then you pay it off, from what you have in the bank. Simple, right? One, two, three, very easy. That's for the person that thinks ahead of time and plans ahead. But for the person that thinks that their credit card is their emergency fund, definitely another show. So stop spending more than you make. All right. Thank you. Now, you got to practice more self honesty. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Self honesty is so very important. If you don't look at your numbers, that's called self-denial. You're denying yourself, okay? If you create other numbers to make yourself feel better, that's self-delusional. You're like trying to paint a different picture that does not exist to make yourself feel a little better and I don't know, justify things. That's I don't know. But self honesty is getting down to brass tacks and looking at the numbers. If the numbers suck, I'm just going to have to say it in plain English. If the numbers suck, do something about it. That's it. I'm just saying the truth. Listen, sometimes you just have to be blunt. All right. So practice more self honesty. Why do people overshop and buy doubles of things that they already have? I'm not talking about like if you want an extra box of rice to put in your stockpile for the future. I get that. Okay. I'm talking about there was a show that I was watching, and some lady did not realize she had a shopping addiction until she went through her stuff. Do you know this lady had five brand new, are you sitting or standing? Five brand new blenders with the tag still on the box, the price tag and all that, unopened, not even open, not even looked at, nothing. Five blenders. They were not gifted to her. She purchased them over time. Tell me something. A person living alone, or maybe I think with one other person, what on planet, or unless you have some sort of catering business going on, and you have a test kitchen or something, what on earth is a person doing with five blenders? That person was baffled. That person was absolutely baffled. I'm telling you, I'll never understand things like this. So practice more self honesty. Stop over shopping. Look at your stuff. Look around you. Look in your house. Look in your apartment. Do you have any doubles or triples? Sounds like a great idea for a garage sale, huh? I think so. All right. The next one, some people are going to grimace. They're going to be like, I can't do this. No. First of all, brace yourself. You can do this. Learn to live on cash. What? Learn to live on cash. It is possible. I know. I know we live in a digital world. I know everything around us is card, 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 numbers, 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 numbers. But I got into it a couple of days back. You can learn to live on cash, even if it's not green. Even if it's not green, okay? You can learn to live on cash by using your own prepaid debit card. Refer yourself back to a couple of videos back, and you will hear the whole thing in extreme detail. If you are a problem to yourself, sometimes we are a problem to ourselves, okay? Sometimes we make the problem. Well, many times we make our own problems, but in the financial arena specifically, okay? So we make the problem by thinking abstractly and oh, I'll have that 300 that I'm charging today, I'll have that 300 next month. If a person is on an extremely tight budget or a very low income, what guarantee do you have that something won't come up from, let's say, point A, which is the current month, to point B, which is the following month? You don't know that. Life can change in a New York heartbeat or any other state you live in heartbeat. Okay, so for me, it would be a New York heartbeat. Okay, so for you, it would be another state heartbeat. I'm just saying, sorry. So learn to live on cash. Go back to that other video. Maybe I should enter it into the description of this video so you see what I'm talking about. All right. Next, keep track of expenses each month. You got to know where your money goes. I mean, you can't just like I used this example about 2 weeks back. So in case you missed that audio show 2 weeks back, keep track of expenses each month. Know where your money goes. You can't treat your money like a box of spaghetti, or as the Italians properly say, spaghetti. I'm telling you, you cannot just throw the spaghetti, or whatever you want to call it, against the wall and pray that it will stick. Okay. Or you cannot walk, let's say you're walking up to a 10-story building. You don't want to take the elevator. You rather do the stairs. That's good exercise. Take the stairs all the way up to the 10th floor. And let's pretend there might be a roof up there if you're allowed to go on that roof, because there are a lot of serious regulations about that in certain cities like this one. And put your money, your imaginary cash, okay, in a bucket and shake it out. Whee! You're creating a plethora of green snowflakes. Let's pretend in New York City. You just happen to get a wild hair to do such a thing, right? Get up on the roof. Hey, I'm going to take my invisible bucket. I'm going to throw that money around left and right all over. Can you imagine the people on the street seeing hundreds of dollars of bills coming down, pennies from heaven? In this case, it's not pennies, it's hundreds, it's 20s, it's 50s, it's 10s. Singles are not allowed. Everything is over a $5 denomination. Can you imagine that? Well, that is what we do when we do not keep track of our expenses and we just live the devil may care life, praying for the spaghetti to stick to the wall, or praying that, well, if you're the person on the street, on the ground, collecting those monies, that's okay. But for the person throwing it out, that is not okay. And chances are more than likely you're not going to find pennies from heaven out anybody's window or roof today. If you do, please let me know that in the comment section below. Although I have had a situation a while back, and I spoke about this a couple of times on a certain birthday of mine. I think it was my 40th birthday. I believe it was my 40th birthday. Yeah. What an amazing birthday that was. I was supposed to go to a flea market in what section of Pennsylvania? Might have been in Allentown, not sure. And it was supposed to be a really huge flea market. So then, my then husband, unfortunately, that individual passed away years ago. We he surprised me. He says, "We're going to Allentown, going to this market for your birthday." Blah blah. I loved that place, so I was like, "Yeah, let's go." Right. So we took a ride down there, and it was a cloudy, windy day. So I do know what it's like to get pennies from heaven. Okay, that day. And this 20 I stepped out of the car, and there was a quite a distance to walk from the flea market from the parking lot area. So, it was a very windy day, and all of a sudden, a $20 bill. Now, mind you, this was, like, back in the late 1990s. So, $20 bill meant a little more than it does in 2025, okay? So, a $20 bill flew down and hit the top of my foot. I looked all around for a fellow human being in that parking lot. So, my then husband said to me, "You know what? Probably the wind picked it up from some person at the flea market, because people were dealing with cash back then and stuff of that nature." He says, "Oh, how are we going to find the rightful owner?" He said, "Janet, it's your birthday. Call it pennies from heaven." So we resolved ourselves with that. Then we went to lunch after, going around the flea market. We went to lunch and I said, "This is going to be my treat, this $20 bill for lunch, right?" So he said, "No, it's not. It's your birthday. You are not paying for anything." I said, "But what about my $20, my pennies from heaven?" He said, "Just don't pay for this lunch." I says, "Okay." So what I saw was something I never, ever, ever see or saw in New York area at that time. There were lottery tickets, the scratch offs. I says, "Ooh, I never played a Pennsylvania scratch off ever at that time." So I says, let me get a few of those tickets, right? Every single ticket I scratched off was a winner. every single thing. But the grand finale, everything was a winner, like fives, tens, 25 scratch off. All right. I think one was a five, the other winner was a 10, the other winner was a 20. The grand finale, I won an additional $100. This was from the pennies from heaven. I said, you know something? This truly is pennies from heaven. But let me ask you a question. How often is a situation like that ever going to happen? Not that often. So I can never ever forget my 40th birthday. Ever, ever, ever. That was so much fun. But chances of that happening today? If it does, please let me know in the comment section below. So keep track of your expenses and, of course, be realistic in how you obtain them. Like those people in the street collecting those tens and twenties from the person foolishly throwing away their money. All right. Next, I know this is running long, but it's worth it because I gave you previous or other video with only 5 minutes on it anyway. All right. So increase your income each month. Oh, nobody likes that one. Why? Increase your income each month. Find things that you like to do that can earn you some money. Don't do things, that you dread. So in addition to your regular job, increase your income. Even if you bring in $100 a week, that's $400 a month. Tell me, wouldn't that help ease up some of your situation when bills are bigger than your income? You can knock down some bills with that 400 a month. Make your life easier, less stressful, and more meaningful. Now for the grand finale realization tip here. Do you realize, you, me, anyone, do we realize the following? Remember I mentioned to you about bad habits every day? Let's say a person has a bad habit of spending $10 a day. Okay? Do you know if you spend $10 a day on a bad or a silly habit that doesn't have to be, you are spending over $3,000 and to the exact tune of $3,650 a year. You tell me if an additional $3,650 a year wouldn't change your life. I'm talking about low income people whose bills are bigger than their lifestyle. Their bills are bigger than their income. This is where the invisible frugal kit comes in so handy. A frugal person's going to think ahead. I don't want to spend that 10. And by the way, if you flip it around, saving $10 or $70 a week from year to year for the 365 days, $3,650. You tell me, could you not use that and then throw it into a high interest account? I'm telling you. Well, thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate everybody's time. I can't tell you how much, but just trust me that I do. I really hope that this audio video, specifically the one of today, I wish them for all my videos, but this one of today, when your bills are bigger than your income, always know that frugal living will come to the rescue. All right, everybody, take good care of yourself and your lovely family. Don't forget to click like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.